all of you. It is known by all of us that the education is one of the most important things in the life of people. Today, we have certain people who have decided to come here and talk to us about education and a little bit of its history. Therefore, we welcome to this lecture called Education, Legacy of Ancient Greece and Rome and its impact in the Colombian education. First, from ancient Greece, his name is Socrates.
Sócrates.
Yeah.
The song. The
The
song.
Ay, por el
He was born in Athens in 4th century BC. He is one of the biggest philosophers of all time, and has been one of the people who thought in the importance of education. Now it comes from the ancient culture. His name is Julio Caesar, the Emperor of Rome. He was born in Italy, Rome, in 100th century BC. He was a leader in this culture. And last but not least, from Colombia, his name is Francisco de Paula Santander. He was born in 1792 in Cúcuta. He was called the Man de Law. He was vice president of the Gran Colombia from 1819 to 1827 and president of the La República de la Nueva Granada between 1832 and 1837. Now, to start this lecture, I will propose the first question. In your own words, what is the education?
Well, thanks for being here, Julia, Francisco.
Can I know you? Okay.
My name is Socrates. To start this lecture, I would like to say that education is not a thing. Education is not an aspect which is relevant in the life of a person, but education is a process. It's a process that every person takes to get knowledge, to improve and develop the skills and abilities to be able or capable of taking and being and taking the challenges of the context.
Okay, but the evolution of the education has been complex and long. What do you think?
Well,
Okay, thank you.
a friend of mine, it's a really good friend. I don't know if you know it. His name is Immanuel Kant. He's a friend of mine, and he has always said that education is a path. It's a path. Yes, like a path.
Okay,
It's a path.
but it is important to say that both the teachers and the students were not the same as today. Well, in the past, okay?
Well, yes. But you know what? That path that Immanuel Kant says, he expressed it. That is the path where people can overcome their underage. But you know what? Being underage doesn't mean being older than 18 years old or some other years in other countries.
Okay, but I wanna know, I think that we wanna show and we wanna talk about the education, or the education in our countries, in Greece,
Great.
in Colombia, and in Rome. Okay, so let's go, we're going to talk. What are the main characteristics of education in Colombia?
Okay. When the colonizers arrived in this land, they brought one different view of education. They imposing what and how to teach. Before, in the second half of the 19th century, it appeared in Colombia the concept of public school, where Spaniards promoted the figure of doctrine priests as a teacher that used to teach indigenous the Christian doctrine. Years later, in 1820, Francisco de Paula Santander, the vice president at the time, signed one ordinance which organized the educational system in public education. And he took the power of education from here to religion. What were the main characteristics of education in Greece?
In Greece, well, it's important to say that what is now known as education, as a social system, had its first steps in my culture, in ancient Greece. You know what? One of the aspects which is very important to talk or to point out is the fact that in the past, in ancient culture, the education was only for men. No woman could ever step foot in a school. And one more aspect to talk about is that education was very limited to people with a high social status. You know, people who had money could afford the education, which means that people who did not have such a big amount of money, they could not have access to what is called education, man. What about Rome?
Rome, where's Rome?
Where is Rome?
Where?
Where you were born, man.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In Rome, education was very important and very good. Very, I don't know. Because education was for children, both boys and girls. But they began to study with their mothers. But why?
Why?
I don't know why. Maybe because the mother. Oh, mother.
Julio.
Maybe because the mothers. Maybe because the mothers taught different things, different aspects of life. But they studied with their mother until they were 7. Okay. After they began to study with other persons, known as teachers, maybe, or they could continue studying with their parents.
But wait. So it means that mothers became the teachers
Yes.
in the beginning of the education.
Yes.
But now, why don't you tell us what were the roles of teachers and students?
The teachers and students. The teachers were the parents.
Always the parents.
Maybe if you're rich, you have another teachers. They were known as Ludi Magister literature or grammaticus and rhetor. Okay, those taught are in a specific stage. Well, I mean, a lot of the magister taught at the elementary stage. A literature or a grammaticus taught at secondary stage. But the rhetor, maybe we know that place as university today. Okay.
Today.
Yes, the rhetor was the last one teacher that someone could have. Okay, but the mother, as I said before, the mother taught children until they were 7. Okay, and parents, okay, I mean fathers taught to boys after they were 7. Okay, and mothers taught to girls after they were 7.
And what about Colombia?
But what's up with the student, children?
Student and children, no.
No.
No, that's pretty good, man. Continue,
Okay.
go ahead.
The students were considered people with a pretty good knowledge. I mean, people with a good concept or I don't know how to say it, with a construction of the life, of the meaning of some words, of some things that we do today, that we do every day or day by day. No. Okay. What's up in Colombia?
What's up? But no, what's up is a very informal way. You're Julius Caesar.
Excuse me. How was the role of the teachers and the students?
Much better. You know, this Mageutica is pretty good. Yeah, Mageutica, the art of making questions in order.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, we talk about that.
Okay, later, in the break.
Okay.
Okay, what about Colombia? What were the roles of teachers and students?
In Colombia, the arrived the colonizers, the Spaniards, considered a good teacher as the person who could teach the pagan and Christianity. Also, they were thinking that students, indigenous, did not have any knowledge, and because of they were making them learn use doctrines and use customs.
You know what? In Greece, things were very similar to Rome. You know, because the first steps of education were in my culture in Greece. You know, before turning 7 years old, the kids or the children were responsibility of parents, but more of that mothers. Mothers took care of female children, but male children were the responsibility of the father. The father used to teach the children the uses of guns, the care of the ground, and all those things for the war. And after that, sometimes, if they could not continue to study, they had to be now responsibility of the state, the government, yes, and they were taken to the army, to start learning all the things about the guns, to go to the war with other countries, to colonize them. Yes, but now that we're having such a good conversation, why don't we go ahead and we say, what were the subjects that were taught in those times?
Well, in Rome.
Yes, let's say Rome.
But I think that the subjects were similar as in Greece.
Why were in Greece?
You said it. The guns, the use of guns, things like that. Okay. When children start with the mother until they were 7, they taught or they learned better. Okay, they learned about morality because the mother only taught that. Okay. But after, if they continue studying with the parents, boys learned about the use of the guns, about religion, about laws, about about reading and writing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because
But better, no, better. I would say better. Okay, but if they start with teachers, with teachers, they could taught or they could learn about basic literacy and numeracy. If they start with the magister, if they start with the literature or grammaticus, they learn about, obviously, about literature and grammatical structure. And if they continue to start with the rector, they learn about oratory.
so the speaking part.
But it's been very, I don't know, very structured.
So yeah, very structured.
Very structured.
Yeah, I
Very
guess.
structured. And that is important to say that when they started with the rector, they do it because they had a public employment or they want to have what? A public employment. How that?
I would be very interested in knowing those things about Colombia because I have heard that Colombia it's a pretty good country and I would like to hear how that was.
Bon, Francisco de Paula Santander
You.
organized the educational system in public education, in which teachers had to teach reading, arithmetic, and the Christian tradition. Which means that new education was not delimited by the religion, but it took into account other subjects, like reading, arithmetic.
Okay.
Because no, you know what? I'd like to share how things in Greece were. Can I? May I? Okay, thank you. When a child, was age to go to school, I mean that was when they were 7 years old. They started something called paideia. The paideia was the first contact with education. And in that contact with education, they studied grammar, music, and gymnastics. But that was only for male children, for men. That was not for women. That was not for any woman. No, women, instead of that, they stayed at home learning the things of the cooking and the housework with the mothers and with the nurses and with the grandmothers, because in the past all was not very so it was not very equal. That was not very fair, very just. And you know what? Women did not have the same opportunities that they have today.
Okay, talking about girls and their education,
Yes.
I forgot to say that when girls started with their mothers, well, in my culture, when girls started with their mothers, they learned about the office of the house, about
Housework.
work,
Yes.
and to wait. While they went
Yeah.
to the school, they could learn about the same topics as men.
As men.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really good change because in the past, women were not even able to go out of their houses in order to avoid the male gaze. You know what is gaze? Gaze is the way men look at women with the respect to take care of their bodies, because in Greece the body was one of the most important things.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, but I want to know something. What is the conclusion about this talking about
Yes.
this lecture?
This lecture has been very, very good. We have learned a lot about cultures, but now I'd like Mr. Paula, Mr. Santander, Mr. Francisco.
No, Mr.
Santander.
Santander.
Okay, but now we're friends. We can call it Pachito.
Okay.
Now we want Pachito or Pachito anyway, to tell us how would you conclude this lecture? What would you say? Man?
Okay. Education as a process of acquiring knowledge and developing skill is passed through many channels. Along the time, it has been in the hands of the family. The religion and the government, they have had different models and ways for educating people, but they have changed according to the characteristics of the context where education has taken place. Nowadays, in Colombia, the education is based on the constructivism, which means the construction of knowledge through the relationships teacher-students, students-teachers. New tools like TIC help to achieve that goal, but will it last forever?
Will it last forever, Julio? Let's wait.
It will be necessary to wait and see what the time brings with it.
Yes, education has changed a lot. Now I have heard that in Colombia there's something called the University of Antioquia. I don't know what is that. I don't know if they are as good as they have to be, but let's wait, because I think that is one of the places, according to what I have heard, that is one of the places which is going to change the education. Let's wait and see what happens.
I'm happy because you are.
Excuse me, I have time.
Ah, you have to go.
Okay.
Okay, Pachita. Pachita. Hey, what? What do you think we can tell about what? About us? No, man. I'm sorry. No, I don't wanna. No. You got me nervous. Oh, you were coming. This lecture has been very good. Oh, bye. Yes. Thank you.